Welcome back to the Denver Sports Betting Show. I am your host, Taylor Sadusky. This segment is in partnership with our guys over at Fan Day Nation, not only giving you the best insights, all things NBA, NFL, NCAA, you name it. We are bringing it back to you guys, the fan, and building a community. Again, we have another special guest on the show today. Welcome to the set, Pedro Petrides, owner, CEO, founder of Goonsville Clothing. Petros, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Taylor. It's always a pleasure to be on and, obviously doing work with you. So awesome. Thanks for having me on.
Of course. So happy to see you again, too. Petros, such an amazing guy. You're going to learn more about him here in a second. But with that being said, let's get into our first amazing and locally trusted sponsor of the show, Gardner Roofing. Are you looking for a roofer you can trust? Gardner Roofing is Colorado's expert roofing team, family owned and proudly serving the community since 1998. At Gardner Roofing, they don't just build roofs, they build relationships with unmatched craftsmanship, honest pricing, and a team that treats you just like family. It's no wonder why our customers keep coming back and bringing their friends. So if your roof needs some love or you just want some advice you can trust, visit them at gardnerroofs.com or give them a call today, 303-332-6224. Our family has your family covered, especially in times like today. Like the weather is so across the board.
Today I'm like, I'm trying to wear my hoodie today. I was like, it's actually kind of chilly outside.
Exactly. The Goonsville hoodie, got to get that going. Amazing.
That
Especially
pink and gold is fire.
Exactly. It was, Petros killed it with that one.
Thanks, Taylor. Thanks.
So last week, we pretty much talked about the Rockies and how they are off to a rough start. But good news is they had added one win since last week, going from 8-40 to 9-46 on the season. So we'll see what they can do in days to come. But with that being said, we have Petros here to go over his time as an athlete to now a business owner. So with that being said, Petros, just tell me a little bit of background to your football career. I know you play multiple sports, but specifically, what is that one been?
So the main one, actually, to be honest with you, the main one is Taekwondo. Mm-hmm. So I've done Taekwondo for over 15 years, but a lot of that, and I always pay tribute to Taekwondo because it correlated to a lot of what I did in football and wrestling and track, because it taught me the idea of being able to kind of step outside the box with the athletics, because, in football, it transpires in a way where your coordination is vitally key, but it also teaches you kind of how to step outside the box with knowing how to be in certain situations. Like when I played corner in football, even on our previous interview, I talked about how I based my game off of Coach Prime because, he very vocalized the idea that, hey, I don't want to get hurt on the field. I want to have a certain finesse and basically protect myself. And by doing that, that teaches you how to be able to, across the boards, know how to play football, because everybody has their own certain style. So I kind of took a little bit from Coach Prime and then combining it with my Taekwondo. That was really vital because I'm a third-degree black belt in Taekwondo. So crossing those connections with football, it taught me to be very aware of what's going on in the field. In certain times I'd be dropped back and I'd kind of even be playing like safety in some situations because I had to be aware of what's going on across the entire field. And so I always got to pay tribute to Taekwondo because it's, I even see it in my brothers, like Angelo, him as a middle linebacker, he drops way lower than any other linebacker I've seen. Like we call it a horse stance. And so he's like in a horse stance. And so it causes him to he needs to take 2 to 3 more steps, 2 to 3 less steps than any other linebacker. And he's making the tackle because he's, taking as much real estate on him. Yeah. It's like he's taking up as much real estate as he can on the field. And so, for me, being able to use my Taekwondo as something to be able to kind of have a third set of eyes was just so crucial to the sport of me playing football.
Exactly. And then to be an athlete too, what does it mean to transfer for each level, going from as a kid to the next level? How is it to not only be welcome to a new level, but also just see yourself at a higher performance, would you say? Really just high school to college specifically, I would think.
Yeah. So when I was taking that jump and then, I never fully got to play at the collegiate level, but knowing I grew up with so many kids that have, a lot of the kids that I grew up with that got to play at the collegiate level, and now they're even going into the NFL. Mm-hmm. I've trained with them. I've done all that stuff. And so, but I understand the importance of being able to, okay, I'm in high school, being the best I can be. But then when you go to college, understanding how to take that jump and then being able to understand that jump is so vital because you're going to be playing against, I see it with my younger brothers. And so that jump of, okay, now everyone's trying to get to that next level to, okay, now we're at that next level. Now I got to compete with everyone who's been grinding to that next level. Now I want to get to that next level. That's the NFL. you know, and I see that with my brothers. And then, you know, shoot, if I go back into football, I'm hoping, you know, I signed up for that camp on June 3rd up in Boulder. So I'm going to be up there, you know, showing off the old school goon, you know, athletics. And so.
Got some motion. I'm still doing good things.
We're working on some stuff in the works, and
I love it.
It's cool. We've been with Shannon Clavel. He played at CU in the '90s, and so he's a beast up there, all pro, and so he's going to be mentoring Exodus, and so that's another thing too. Having a mentor for someone in that position. I mean, Exodus and him played the same position, so it's like it's going to work hand in hand, and that's just so vital to the game of football. I mean, you know, you asked how do you take that mindset. You also got to grab on to people that have already played that. And so it's like, you know, shoot, if I got the opportunity to play up at Boulder, I'd be all around Coach Prime and be like asking him questions all the time. I mean, that's literally what I base my game off of. And I'd be like quizzing him all the time, like, how did you do this? Or like, I mean, hearing it from the person themselves is just like.
That free game is everything too. Because he's always mentioned he's had over 135 years of NFL experience on this team currently. Yeah. Hall of Famers, there's 4 of them, all that kind of stuff too as well. So as an athlete in adolescence, and now being a business owner, there's so many players today that have had changes of like going to the NFL, having like either a long career, a short career, or not even making it to the NFL and stuff like that too as well. So how is that transition after having a craft your whole entire life as an athlete and then pivoting to being a business owner, which is still in the world of sports, having great sponsorships too. But how has that changed after you've given so much of your life and then just pivoting, you know?
It definitely is a transition. I mean, but at the same time too, can you like for me, like understanding to adapt that position of me going into like school and then doing the business and then understanding, okay, I can balance these two because I can build my business through my school. But then at the same time, through my sports stuff, I was like, you know what? There's no way. Like for the first 2 years of Goonsville, I kept it orientated to kind of what I was doing at school and then kind of building the brand because I was pushing the idea that you are the goon, you are the goon. We can all be goons, but we're this community, this Goonsville. And so I still, you know, it was funny during that time period, I kept training and I wasn't missing the beat that I was. I mean, there was no specific beat that I was missing, but the idea that, hey, I want to keep training, I want to keep working on my craft because who knows, eventually I was thinking at that time, okay, you know, COVID could clear up. I could probably figure something out with football. But at the same time, I mean, the blessings of people that came into my lives, like Uncle Neely, prime example, that was an amazing correlation to what I was already doing because I was already thinking about doing Goonsville athletics and then retying it into some form of football. Like Angelo and Exodus were in their senior year when I really started getting big into, okay, I'm going to make this an athletics brand. And then boom, the timing couldn't have been perfect. I met Uncle Neely, the stuff took off up in Boulder, and then, you know, our relationship only went up from there. And so that was just so crazy how the coordination crossed there because I was already working on the idea that, okay, I wanted to get deeper into my roots. And then Uncle Neely comes in and transpires it with CU and then all these other athletes that are going after their craft. Like, you know, when we were up in Boulder at the NIL mixer, we met, you know, Mata, a bunch of other players, and you just see these young guys going after it. They're like, I want to make it to the next level. And so I guess in whole, to kind of answer your question, it was a transition, but I also, at the end of the day, wanted to get really deep back into my roots. And through CU and Uncle Neely and even you, all these amazing people, I was able to really reconnect with the past, but also drive that into the future.
Which is awesome too, because I feel like making connections, especially in the sports world as a reporter, an athlete, a coach, is so huge because it really puts you in like new situations and whatnot too as well.
Big time.
Definitely. So with that being said, we're going to take a little commercial break now to our next amazing sponsor. As a very stylish guy yourself, I'm sure that you understand that accessories make the fit, right?
Every time.
Jewelry being one of those accessories. Yeah. Especially in Greek culture too, right?
Yeah, I know. I don't. At the gold, I don't wear much of the gold anymore.
Where's the chain today?
I promise you, go to the Greek festival, you will see all the Greeks with their chains out and their jewelry and their stavros. That's how you say cross in Greek, stavro.
Fantastic.
So you'll see all the stavros and,
there
gold.
Gold. Well, speaking of amazing jewelry, shout out to Niko Stones. Are you looking to elevate your everyday style? Niko Stones designs timeless, versatile jewelry that stands out. Whether you are dressing it up or keeping it casual, from bold rings to leather bracelets, there's something for every single vibe. So go ahead and click the link in the description to explore the whole collection. Such good pieces. They have something for everyone, definitely. Yes. And then shout out to the Greek Fest too as well. You can definitely rock some pieces there for sure.
Heck yeah, thanks. I'm going to plug that because it's coming up next week, 6th, 7th, and 8th of June. So
Denver's great for building communities too. So that's awesome. This is a great landscape to have that going down.
Very cool. Thanks for that.
Of course. But with that being said too, we've talked about adapting, going through obstacles. As a young athlete, did you see yourself on a straight path basically? Like, I'm going to go play D1, I'm going straight to the NFL, and that's my life. Like, is that how you saw it from early age? Or like, were you more realistic and saw like, well, I can kind of pivot that way, do that, ran into obstacles, it kind of like maybe like morphed your whole entire perception of, oh, maybe I'm not going to do like certain things, like what were those like, kind of?
Yes and no. So my whole life, I would say it was a lot of it was streamlined, but I won't say in the sense of it was streamlined to the sense of everything is a shift no matter what. I mean, nothing's ever a straight line. But, through Taekwondo, I've fought in over probably 150 matches in my entire career. And I think I've only lost like 4 or 5. And that's in, record in Colorado. I mean, when I was 14 years old, I was ranked, I think, #1 in the nation for Olympic sparring for my age group. And
to even be a black belt or to be a white belt is insane. So to do that is wild.
No, it's really cool. And and anyone who has young kids too that want to build a ecosystem for their kids, I recommend Taekwondo to the fullest because it teaches you that I'm going to say it again, that sixth sense, because it's just so cool because it cross coordinates with every sport. And so to kind of build off what you're saying though, for my early life, and even because, I always bring up my dad, always being there for me and my brothers, a lot of that was streamlined. We'd wake up on a Saturday morning, we got a tournament. We got to go to the tournament. And we knew what we had to do. We had to be there all day. We'd fight, multiple times in a day. We'd go do our Taekwondo forms. We'd do board breaking. And everything was kind of streamlined for those. I mean, I would say for those first 10 years of my life I started Taekwondo when I was 6. So it's streamlined for 10 years of just going Taekwondo, football, and then I got into high school wrestling. So a lot of it was seasonal based, but I was on a trajectory that, hey, I'm going to figure out what specific sport I want to do, whether it's going to be dialed into college football or even, taking Taekwondo to the next level. Because when I was 14 years old, I won the Junior Olympics. And so that qualified me for the 2020 Olympics, but that kind of segues into shifting. And so that's the no part of it to where COVID came in. And so I hate to bring up COVID because it's this funky time in the entire world, but that's really the first time in my life where, okay, I didn't really shift, but I just decided, okay, we got to work with what's best. Mm-hmm. And so, with Montana State not working for football, I said, that's all right. My dad even pumped me up. He said, it's fine. If this is not going to work because of whatever's going on, you got to keep moving. And so that's really how Goonsville was born too, because shifted back down to Denver, went to CU Denver, met some amazing people up in Boulder, but the trajectory kept going straight. But the lines of movement obviously shifted, but we kept going forward. I said, okay, if I'm not playing football at this specific time, I'm going to work on, my school, my craft, work on the brand, keep training, keep doing everything that's building the brand, but obviously just keep figuring out how to keep going forward and then just dialing everything with you. I mean, all the amazing connections up in Boulder, and then even making sure, my younger brothers are on the right trajectory. So I guess in short, it never changed. But there's definitely, stuff changes. I mean, it never changed for myself because you always got to keep moving forward. But obviously, times and whatever happens with the world, you got to make adjustments. And so I guess that's how I could say it. But I mean, for all of us, you got to keep moving forward. You got to keep growing. You got to keep meeting people. I think that's one of the biggest things I want to keep emphasizing with Goonsville is as a brand, over the last 5 years, I think there's been a lot of disconnect with the world because of everything's gone online. We're all on our phones. But also, I mean, you got to think, I was telling my brothers this the other day, I was like, you guys don't understand. Since the beginning of time, humans have been talking to each other about word of mouth. Mm-hmm. I don't think that'll ever go away, And so
even like with technology and whatnot, life happens when you least expect it. I feel like, if anything, too.
Seriously, and it's a wonder. And so I was like, okay, with Goonsville, I want to keep that there. Obviously what we're doing with the shows and all these amazing people, but keep it very honed in on the idea that, word of mouth and being out and about with friends and family is so vital. I mean, it's been around literally since the beginning of time. Mm-hmm. So
exactly. No, that's so true. So honestly, being a former athlete and having so much athletic talent and also being now a business owner, I think you have so much insight and knowledge to share to not only the younger generation, people your age and even older too.
Yeah.
So I want to thank you so much,
Thanks,
Petros,
Taylor.
for being on the show today.
Always a pleasure.
Such an awesome voice to have.
Thank you. Give me some boom.
With that being said, thank you again for tuning in to the Denver Sports Betting Show. Happy to have you guys back, and we will catch you guys next week. See you.